Hello guys, Wahoo here, back in another video. This time around the Solarion build guide. Yes, the new class, and here we got ourselves the build guide. So I'm doing it a little bit different if you've seen any of my other build guides. This is a little bit different, not in many ways, but only that I'm going to include 2 minutes of gameplay for the class so you kind of can see it. And when I eventually update my other build guides, I will include 2-minute gameplay for all of them. So I'm not going to commentate on that. It's just showing off what's happened. So I'm going to put in some smooth jazz but I also make timestamps. So if you want to skip ahead over that, you can do so yourself if you want to. If you don't want to watch the 2 minutes, if you have an idea of what it does and stuff like that, then of course you can go ahead and just skip ahead if you want to do. But in the future, when I rework my build guide, when something major happens for the build itself, not for the class and abilities and stuff like that, because I don't really cover those in the build guides. I basically all my build guides is still up to date, even though they're from like 2019. I do update the description when something minor happens and such, but the build guide still holds up today. So I'm not like neglecting all the other classes, just that these build guides still work. And I will make new ones when something major happens, like for example, new class gems or something like that. If that ever happens, I will of course do extremely reworks of all the classes, but for now there's no need to do so. But if I do that in the future, I will include those 2 minutes of gameplay because I feel like that's what's missing from those videos. Also that I could probably do them better than I did back then. It's also a few years back, but like I said, timestamp, so if you want to skip ahead on the 2 minutes of gameplay, you can do so. But the 2 minutes of gameplay is coming up here, and we'll go over the class after the gameplay. Alright, so that was the gameplay part of the video. Now we are going to go into the build guide itself. We are going to start on this page right here. I'm going to start from the top. I'm not going to go over every single ability. There's a lot to read and there's a lot of stuff to unpack there, but you probably can see right here. This of course means that the class gem is of course on your ultimate. We'll talk about that when we get to the gem section, but first let's start with the subclass. I went with the knight because that's just the best subclass there is. As you can see, the subclass itself, if you want to know what that gives, right now because I'm only level 20, it gives 55 light. So if you equip this on some other classes, you will get that 55 light to that if it's only level 20. At level 30, it's 140 light. So it's a little bit underwhelming. I think they should have buffed this a little bit more. So because it's just a little bit underwhelming right now, but Knight is just superior still with the 6 flask capacity, and also, you know, actually being with the, you know, movement speed for your mount, for ground mount, that is. So let's go into the different, you know, gear and such. And of course it is a bow class. We don't have a lot of bow classes in the game, sort of only actually having sort of the Shadow Hunter. The Boomer can also be one, but Shadow Hunter is basically the only bow character we do have, so pretty cool that they actually made one of these for this time. So what I think is feeling very nice for this class is attack speed. So I do have attack speed on my own. Well, it's only level 3 crystal hat here. Same thing with my face, and it's actually only level 2, and I haven't actually done much with this because I'm really hoping to get a crystal 3 bow. At least, you know, this is not gonna end up being my main, so I'm not gonna go for 4. If I get some 4s, I will. For now, level 2 is fine. I'll get a 3 at some point. It gets me what I need to do at the moment. But like I said, critical damage, of course, always very nice. But attack speed feels very nice on this class, especially when you use the number 1 ability and gets those extra shots, right? And you actually can shoot them off a little bit faster and clear a little bit faster. So attack speed feels very, very nice. Other than that, you don't really need that much. As you can see, I went with jumps, but this is a lot of jumps, and I might change this in the future. But as of right now, I want the critical damage. I might also actually change these because I actually do want the physical damage on this. But yeah, I didn't think about that when I did it. But yeah, don't have that many jumps. That's not necessary. I think I have 73 jumps. That's way too much. Way too much. So, but the you know, critical damage and attack speed does feel very, very nice when you are playing the class. And I went with Ernie. Ernie is the of course the number 1 physical damage ally you can use. I know it's not what the skin is. This is of course my community you know, ally skin, but this is the Ernie. It gives 400 light and 25 physical damage, and also gains a protective shield when you're nearby enemies that die. That basically that gives you like this bubble thing that's really nice and takes a little bit of damage away as well. And of course I do have a ring, and then again I got critical hit. I definitely don't want critical hit, so you want to go away from critical hit, that's for sure. Of course, you only want that 100%. And since I'm not level, you know, 30 yet, I don't have the 100%. But with the new crystal gems, actually, you get way over that in the crystal. But just get away from and get too close to 100% as you, of course, can. But that's basically everything there is here for Flask. Of course, I'm using Death Defying. I'm using the Bountiful Emblem. You can use other things as well if you want so over here, especially Sure Strike if you're not 100%. You know, capped on the critical hit. You can use the Sure Strike or one of the other ones, but I have fallen in love with the Bountiful Emblem, and because it has a chance of not consuming a charge, and that also goes for the when you use your potions yourself, it actually has a chance of not consuming. So it doesn't actually just on when, you know, Death Defying is proccing, it is also when you use it. So you can actually just, you know, be very lucky and actually like consume 3 flasks in a row, and it doesn't even, you know, consume 1 charge and stuff like that. So I've been really falling in love with the Bountiful because, you know, the martial emblem, the physical damage emblem, also the arcane on the opposite side is just so good. So as many flash charges as you can just possibly pump out before you need to refill is just absolutely amazing. So yeah, I'm using the Bountiful, but you can use anything you basically want in this one. There's nothing that is, you know, unusable of these, so just go ahead and use anything, but this is what I'm using. Of course the martial one is absolutely necessary. That is just undisputed the best one for each class. So if you have these two, is just everything basically. So that was our, you know, the stats and the gear and such. So let's move on to the gems. That's a little bit more interesting. Here, of course, I went with the meme build. So I'm going to cover the meme build. Let's do that first. And that's, of course, the Stinging Curse. Stinging Curse do apply damage over time, but this do not work for the Solarion. Of course, it works, the gem itself, but it doesn't work you gaining more charges. So the only way you can gain charges is from your own abilities. I was really hoping that this would work on, you know, the Solarion, so you can just auto attack and that would apply it, and then you can just keep having that AoE spread without, you know, using any abilities, but you can't. It doesn't work. So that's why it's sort of a meme, because We never use Stinging Curse. We never use this one, the Spirit Search either, and we don't use this one either. That's because it's a meme, not the class gem. That will cover that in a minute, but these two are definitely memes. You can use them, as you can see, I used them, but what it does is that you basically, take damage over time, and we are getting an update. So let's actually get through this pretty quickly. So I'm hitting this. The search, what it does is that when you take damage, there is a chance, like a ring around you of projectiles that basically shoots everywhere and then applies the damage over time based on your max health. So usually it's not that high of a damage, and also sometimes you just one-shot things so they never get to hit you, but it is a damage over time thing. That's why it's sort of meme-ish, I feel like, because it's not something we are going to use. I'll show you guys in a little bit what we actually are going to use. So those are the two memes. Let's move on, because apparently we are getting an update, so let's get a move on, right? But we of course got the class gem. The class gem is sort of a middle tier. When I say middle tier, it means like it's not something super necessary, but it's not something useless. Some class gems are basically useless and not necessary at all. This one is sort of in the middle because it actually does great damage. So basically what it does is that your ultimate does like a damage around you, basically a really good amount of damage, but the class gem does, so the Phoenix, the little guy here, also gets a circle around that and actually does a pulse. So it's pretty damn awesome actually. So but it's not super necessary. You can go without it because if your Phoenix is dead, it's not gonna make the circle, and yes, it can die. It's not dead for that long. It does rises pretty quickly, but I'm just saying it could technically be dead, and then you use your ability and then it really doesn't have any use, so might as well not have it. So that's why it's sort of a middle thing of necessity, if that is so. But before we are going to get disconnected from the game, let's talk about the ones you might actually want to use. And I have it in my inventory because I'm not level 30 yet, because you can see 25, I need to equip them. So let's talk about I think the most important ones, and those are the Berserker Battler. And this is amazing again with attack speed, but also the light increase. Light is so important right now when we got U11, because it also implies in U10 and U11 Prime Worlds and all that stuff. So if light wasn't the in-game stat now, which it was, but now definitely, like, no disputed, the absolutely best stat you can get. And this is just way better. So if you want to do in-game damage, you want to get the Battler, not only because of the attack speed, but also because of the light. If you're just going to farm around, that's why I have this one over here. You can go with the vampiric, the Vanquisher here. If you're just gonna farm with it, it is going to deal that damage and heal you back up and increase your movement speed a little bit and stuff like that. But I'm gonna go with this one, even though this is not gonna be my main class. I'm not gonna do much damage, but if I'm gonna use this, I'm probably gonna use it as like a damage for bosses and stuff like that. So I want to equip this one. You can see I already leveled up to 25 to do so. So for other gems, you can go, I think that the Exploding Epilogue is absolutely necessary. It's just so great with the explosion and stuff. And then you basically got one slot left, because you're going to use the class gem, you're going to use the battle or the vampiric, and then you can go with the exploding. I think that's the third best choice for sure. And then you can get a choice between the pyro disc or the cube. The cube is nice because, well, there isn't really nothing you can really do otherwise, so you can take this one, or you can do the pyro disc. I would probably go with the pyro disc. I feel like this is maybe like choice number 5 or something like, or 6, whatever. But pyro disc is to me just a little bit better because as you probably saw from the footage, you saw me using the number 1 ability, and I'm sort of standing on top of it, so enemies run towards me and then gets damaged by this because it's not a big AoE. So I'm basically standing there. So if you get the pyro disc to proc as well, not only the movement speed you get from it, but also the damage from it. So I feel like the the pyro disc is a little bit better than the cube, but the cube is also just avoid some damage. That's always great. So There's not really anything necessary. If you don't have these two, and you do have the exploding and all the other things, you should definitely go with that. You can also go with some of the memes if you want to do so. I'm gonna do so because I feel like we never used these on any classes at all. Never ever have you tried it, and now we basically have a class that's sort of centered around damage over time. So I just thought it was fun to put these two in. So I guess going half meme, half real, with the battler and the clash gem, and then two of these. So that's sort of just what I wanted to go for. And of course, the rest of the gems is just critical damage, physical damage, critical damage, and critical hit. Up to 100%. If you get way over 100%, change these into the critical hit into some max health or whatever, because yes, right now you get a lot of critical hit with the crystal gems. So that was the build guide. I don't think I missed anything. If I missed anything or you got any question about the Solarion, feel free to go to the description, and of course, the description as well, but also to the comments, and of course, let me know how you feel. And also there's a Discord if you just want to live question me, I guess, I don't know, but that is also linked in the description and not in the comments, but you can go to the comments for sure. And I'm gonna wrap up this video before the update hits and we are booted from the game. But anyways, that was the Solarion build guide. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!